have a set amount of figures. We can't choose what choreography to dance. We have only 7 figures. We can put them into different patterns, but we can't actually make them a little bit longer, a little bit slower. We can't hold it a little bit more. One of our very main coaches was Benny Tolmeyer. He used to say sometimes, go in fast, come out slow, go in slow, come out fast. We don't have that choice in the Viennese waltz. We have the 7 figures, and we are expected to dance them as they should be danced. That means we're expected to produce the right alignment, the right timing, and the right footwork. From a judging point of view, the Viennese waltz is probably the easiest dance for us to judge. From a dancer's point of view, it's probably one of the most limited dances, again, because of the structure of the steps. When I'm standing and judging and watching, the first thing that I'm going to see is the picture. So it's very easy to compare your picture with his picture with his picture. So the picture has to be beautiful at all times. The second thing that I'm going to compare is the actual shift of movement from foot to foot. Also, quite easy, if 5 couples are starting here with natural turns, very easy to see who's eating up the floor more than the other. Some couples are particularly clever in the fact that they can overtake on the inside when it's necessary. I must say my husband was always very good at that. There's no way he would let anyone overtake him in the Viennese waltz. But it's not the be-all and end-all. It's the way we move from foot to foot. It's the way we lower from a foot and out of another foot. And it's very easy for us to see it when we're judging. You're all going the same way. More or less, mostly all doing the same steps. When it comes to the steps, do we all know what steps I'm talking about? How many steps do we know in the Viennese waltz? Give me one of the steps, anybody? Natural turns, that's number 1. Next one? Reverse turn, that's 2. Another one? All right, so let's say, so which change? Okay, forward change and backward change, okay? And you can choose, so that's 4. The next one we were talking about, the fleckerl, so the reverse fleckerl, the natural fleckerl, and the check. 7 figures. Very popular at the moment for competitive couples is to dance straight in, reverse turn, no reverse fleckerl, straight into the check and out. You've only given me 6 figures. If someone's dancing next to you, particularly as this year, isn't the solo dance for amateurs going to be Viennese waltz? If someone's dancing next to you, they give me 7 figures, I have to look at that more favourably than if you're only going to give me 6. If someone doesn't choose to give me the fleckerl at all, then again the degree of difficulty of this easily structured dance goes down. So basically your job is to show me 7 of these figures danced beautifully. How? How to do, all right? We're going to have a little explanation. I may use my adorable husband, I might not really, depends if he's going to behave himself. Probably won't. I think we're going to talk about the natural turn first, all right? I really don't mind if couples choose to do a little entry before they dance. If I'm judging, it means absolutely nothing to me. If it makes you feel great, do it. I'm not going to judge it or mark it. If when you eventually get together and you're in a super postural position, then I'm happy. If you do these triple spins, your dress gets wrapped around your neck and you set off without any contact, I'm not very happy. So basically you do what you do and you do it well. We're going to start off. Anyone any idea what we count musically in the Viennese waltz? How do we count it? How does everyone count Viennese waltz? 4, 5, 6. So we use it in little 2-bar couplets, don't we? Sometimes we think of it as a masculine part and then the feminine answer. All right, so that's quite a nice way of thinking about it. So the 2-bar couplets. Which part of the bar do we start in the natural turn? Oh, good. And the reverse turn? All right, why? Oh, good. When we change, we'll be starting from the change step, which would be on the 1, 2, 3, so 4, 5, 6. What happens if we start right at the beginning into the reverse turn? We should start, shouldn't we? Not everybody does. All right, so we should be waiting and starting, particularly if it's a 4-bar introduction, we let the first bar go so that we can come in on the feminine bar for the man, right, as it would, because the natural turn must start on the 1, 2, 3, whether we start with it or not. Now, I'm going to teach you what I like to see in a Viennese waltz. I like to see that I see the most gorgeous man's body. And if it's gorgeous, it will be sexy. Like Miss McCall's lecture yesterday, our ballroom boys prove themselves to be wonderful. And I want to see a gorgeous body moving down the room. I want to see a spine that never stops. Now, to produce that, you have to know where your spine is going. And you have to know where it's going in relation to your lady. All right? So if we start off, actually I might use my husband because he's going to look a little more masculine than me. No. Mr. Marcus Hilton, MBE. Thank you very much. Enough. He's only assisting today. All right. Right, my darling, what I want him to do is we're going to start off in the correct direction. And we are going to rotate to a marvelous direction, and the intent and purpose of this direction is to eat up the floor.
Am I being an assistant?
You are, and he's going to stop. No.
Okay.
You're going to stop until you get cramp, like I had to do for you. Right. At this point, if I was training Marcus, I would actually put a block underneath his foot. I would encourage him to curve right the way through his spine, up to the top of his head, and don't muck his hair up. Throw his head weight down the room. Now he's got 1 beat to give me that picture. All right, you may return to the starting position. Thank you so much. Do you need it? All right. Before he does that, that's the moving picture that I have to see. How's he going to move? So he's also got to produce the action before he gets to that picture in 1 beat of music. And the action that we're going to see, if you'd like to just bring your little bottom further down the room for me, please. Okay. What we're going to try and develop from starting here, the action to move, lowering rotation. We all know that. But the most important action now for a beautiful body line is that the center of your body, and I'll call it center, sometimes we call it Calvin Klein area, all right? So the music box, this area, all right, of Marks and Spencer's. Anyway,
That's the English Calvin Klein.
Excuse me? The point of it is, it's a nice boxy area. It's quite a big area. Biggest muscles of the body, we're talking about the back half. Thank you so much. Right. And what I need to see is I need that music box to shift through the foot as he's moving through. He is not going to get a parking ticket before he starts. So the whole thing, if we look, and we're going to focus now on the bottom area, we'll shift through the center of the foot. You can do it any way you like, my darling. All right. If he could do it excuse me, Mr. Hilton. If you could do it slowly, you could also focus on the shin bone through the left leg. The shin bone moves diagonally forward. Again, that will keep the center of the body in motion, which will produce a forward curve. And that's all on your first step. Also, at the same time, we're changing a little bit direction. We're starting here, we're facing diagonal center, and we are finishing absolutely down that line of dance without crossing into the lady's space. So if I do the reciprocal movement, now don't interfere with me. Okay. All right, if reciprocal movement, 1, we are lining up. Our spines are not crossing. If I was practicing this and I was going to be a competitor, we practiced for hours like this. Right? I would call this British Airways. We can call this Alitalia, Aeroflot. I don't know about it. Right? Whichever. We must not cross the spines. How easy is that to do? Very easy. We have got no sway on 1. I don't want to see any sway in the Viennese waltz. My teacher taught me that you had to fly flat. Right? I don't want to see any. He actually used a few more F's in it, but we won't go into detail. But we have to fly flat. I don't want to see sway. I want you to eat up the floor, and you can sway tomorrow, not today. All right? So we're thinking sway may happen, but we're going to think about producing it tomorrow. Okay? So we're going to go through. We'll dance into the first step. Step 1, gorgeous curve, moving curve. Nothing sitting down. Beautiful moving curve. Step 2, I want Marcus to face his center of body, belly button, to the wall. Again, if I was training him, I mean, he's pretty good, but if I was training him, I'd probably pull his elbow skin down the room to invite him to pick up and release the body weight. Again, he's shaping, if we look, he is shaping away from his arms, using his ankles, his knees, to shape out of the lady's space. Ready to close in for the third step. And again, at this point here, our beautiful picture will be that we have got an incredible awareness of space. Ready to start again. I'm going to lower rotate, my shin bones move diagonally forward, and I am going to intend to go down the line of dance. All right? So what are we doing? Over a series of 6 steps, we are producing a straight line. And we're going to eat up the floor with this straight line that turns beautifully and equally over 6 steps. The worst thing we can do, ladies, is actually help them to turn. So if I'm lined up from here, the worst possible thing I can do is actually step out of his way. I'll give him no resistance. I'll give him nowhere to swing up to me. Absolutely the same if I was starting off for a feather step in foxtrot or in waltz. So yes, I do rotate, I do melt towards him, but I don't step out of the way. Again, if I my spine will cross into Marcus's space. So the whole way through we're talking about spine awareness, shift and swing in a straight line across the floor. Okay? Are we all clear on that? It's pretty simple, isn't it? But we don't do it. When do we turn in the Viennese waltz? If we were eating up the floor here, do we miss the corners? How do we turn? Say we wanted to do a whole series of natural turns because they're so good, we're going to do them all the way around the floor. How would we negotiate the corners? Any ideas? What would you do? As much. So you'd take a smaller step, wouldn't you? A smaller step. What I like to see, and there's some great swingers dancing at the moment in competition, I love it when those boys eat up the floor down one side. They turn within 1 bar of music. They change direction and they eat up the floor on the next short side. They don't back off it because we're going to turn the corner. They don't make it all very small. They utilize it, they dance through, and they get back on the next line of dance to produce a great big curving picture. Again, if you're judging, it's very impressive. There's no dithering about it. We don't back off the corners. We dance through it, we change our direction, and find our next direction. If we were going, because we're starting with the natural turn, if we're moving from the natural turn and we're going to have some sort of change step, How do we know, ladies? What gives us an indication of a change step? Let's say if I'm dancing a natural turn and then we're going to dance, well, I don't know, maybe a forward change step, maybe a backward change step. I'm not the boss. How do I know it's going to happen?
The man shouts now.
Do we squeeze? Actually, I think we have to. I've told people in the past, if you can't feel it, little squeeze of the hand wouldn't come amiss. What would you do? What's the change of direction? If we've got this beautiful purpose of intent on swinging to a straight line, what will change on the change step? What gives me an indication? A direction, good girl. And what direction would it be? Let's have a little look at markers. Let's have a telepathic. We're going to do a few natural turns. All right. And then he starts again. Now, let's have another little focus. Can you just dance the change step for me, my darling? Stop. So really, step one's more or less the same, isn't it? So not much difference on that step one? Not really, is there? I mean, I'd have to be a brain scientist to find a difference really in that one. Here's where the difference comes in. And at this point, well, you can't really see as much as I would feel, but at this point, my husband would really give me an up and under, and am I doing it to you?
I love
it. So the direction of the knees is moving sideways, diagonally sideways, producing a diagonal curve. So we're moving from a forward, side, and closing. Would you follow? Thank you, darling. And into this one, which is a diagonally forward, knees moving sideways step. At the same time, ladies, what I really love to see here is that you can express this shape right through to your head. So again, to utilize that, I get the message from my partner, something different is happening. Again, I'm using my shin bones, my knees. I've got tremendous pressure to the floor. I can't just throw the head back, but from the energy from Marcus, I press against the floor and it produces a curve. I'm utilizing that, keeping my body position, and I love to see that the head weight can dance to its extremity. From a natural position, from the feet through the body. Why? Well, the lecture today, the story is musicality. So we have to use that bar of music to dance. And it's the most lovely thing if I can actually see the head weight finish off the bar of music. We'll try and do that. We won't put the music on. I don't want to give you pressure, hon. So if I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Ready then to start into the reverse turn. You just like that.
Yeah, I do, yes, yeah. But we're going to Bulgaria then.
Delightfully. Right, so I'm using it to dance my head weight, coming from my partner. Ladies, if you don't get the information early enough, then you have to request it. All right, nicely request it. Ask them to utilize their body weight. Maybe you need a bit of information to come through a little bit earlier. We're going to just now, at this point in time, talk about pet hates. And there's 2 pet hates really in the Viennese waltz. Number 1 pet hate is the boys. I mean, I love and adore you anyway, but footwork in the Viennese waltz. So I'm going to have my husband, and you can show a really awful footwork, my darling. And if I was in the studio, I'd probably throw a shoe at him. But here's our pet hate.
I wonder what it is. I wonder what I do.
All right, to come through. I'm sure Mark could tell me what it was. Right, it's a pet hate. The footwork on the closing foot is flat. Any idea why? Yeah, we dance flat, but there's actually a historical reason why. Mr. Bill Irvin told me this, and I believed everything he said. The reason why, when the dance was written and invented, it was written for the cavalry. And they used to dance this in the Viennese balls in full cavalry dress. And basically, the man had a long sword down his left leg, so he couldn't bend the leg. So in other words, he had to pull the foot in flat. I think in our day and age now, if we were competitively performing, we would be swinging so much on that forward half of the natural turn that actually we have to catch the timing and catch the body flight with the footwork. So if I did this to Marcus now, sorry babe, oh my goodness. Right, so if I threw his body weight, he's going to catch it. Not catch the gorgeous girls. He's going to catch the whole weight and energy of the natural turn. But actually I also have that, don't I? So when I'm moving backwards, I'm catching it. So on each bar of music, if Marcus is driving this part of it and he's using all the energy from behind him, so he's scooping all that energy, I'm actually going to catch the music now. Okay? And then I'm going to throw my immense body weight.
Oh, yes, go for it, girl.
Churchill. And he's going to catch it there. All right? So it's a reciprocal catching. We're going to throw the body weight with all the energy we can and catch it. We're not restricting it. We're dancing through to an alignment and we're keeping hold of it. Make sense? Sometimes we don't start, do we? Sometimes we get a bit scared of this dance and we don't release the energy weights. As we've done number 1 pet hate, we better do number 2 pet hate. I didn't really want to do this, but we'll talk about the reverse turn. And would you show me the next pet hate, please? Changing from the reverse turn and not actually doing a change step, but doing, well, I'd call it a volta actually, but it's supposed to be apparently part of the reverse turn. Thank you very much. All right, it is a closed step, and really it's unforgivable for us to see bad footwork like that. Well, it makes my job very easy as a judge, because if I see that, I don't like it. And you're supposed to be giving me gorgeous shapes around the floor at all times. Sad part is, you don't get a medal for great footwork. You don't get a medal for it. We just expect you to do it. If you show me something that's not right, you are demolished and devoured. Is that right? Yeah? Now, so what we're going to do now is, I think we have to talk a little bit about the fleckerel. Does everybody dance the fleckerel? Oh, yes. Is it the biggest problem in the partnership? Is it? Yeah, I think so. Let's go into it. I'm going to show you how I would train the fleckerel, how I would train it really. It's not going to work at all times. Biggest problem is the shoulders don't turn in coordination enough with each other. So one shoulder will spin off or not. And very often in the studio I do tie couples up. It's just a thing that I have. I quite enjoy it actually. So what I'm going to do with my husband is I'm going to place his hands down his thigh and I'm going to hold him quite low down. We're going to dance into reverse fleckerel. So we'll do a few reverse turns. We're going to come off through here. And we're just going to time.
Oh, sorry about that.
Would you like not to stand on my feet? We're just going to time the turning of the shoulders. When I watched, the biggest problem is that people are on their toes. All right, so we're not getting the catching position. Believe me, your fleckerel needs as much attention as something like your reverse turn in foxtrot, something like your telemark and your chassé in the waltz. The fleckerel is faster, it's harder to do. We need to repeat, 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 repeat until we are so comfortable with it that we can use it. Because once you've done that, guys, the news gets a bit worse really, because we're supposed to actually modulate the amount of turn. And we're supposed to make a complete turn over 6 steps. And that the direction we go in, we should complete our fleckerel in the same direction because we've made our turns beforehand. So not only are we having to drive our lady's weight, catch our lady's weight, we have to put it in a particular direction in the room. It's not easy, is it? All right? Not easy. All right? And at the same time, how do we come out? Do we come out at 100 miles an hour? Maybe. Maybe. And so we decide how many we're going to dance. And at the very end, we have to absorb. And actually, the last fleckerel we dance, we don't complete the weight. We just scoop up and absorb the turn. So it becomes like a little spiraling action. And if I could ask my assistant, because time's running out,
Yeah.
could you actually dance the contra check? And we will just have a little look at this. So 4, 5, 6. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, he might choose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see there's a little snail spiral to come out? We always chose, because of the way we were taught, that the man should come out backwards to catch the lady's body weight. Basically, it's a dangerous position. And if Marcus could just dance 1 and stop. At this point now, the biggest danger can occur, because here is where the man can break the hip line. So at this point now, he's going to absorb my head weight to divide his feet. All right, and again, we do that a lot in dancing, but we're doing it at 100 miles an hour. Okay? If you'd all like to sit down, I'm just going to give a little brief synopsis now of what we've tried to do today. Oh, have I? I thought I had to finish at 1/4 because I started at 1/2. That's up to you, my angel. All right?
Mr. Kalin, 5 minutes, please.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going swimming. Right, now, so basically, these are the figures that we've talked about today. All right, simple figures, aren't they? Nothing to be frightened about if we apply the right mechanics of what we're doing. The next thing I would like to discuss with you is, as a lady dancer, I need the perfect frame. Okay? If it was Christmas, that's what I would ask Father Christmas for. The perfect connection and the perfect frame that can breathe. All right? So first of all, we have to know where those connection points are. Again, in the Viennese waltz, if you haven't got that perfect connection, you can't hide it. How many times does your coach say, oh, well, we can shape the wrong way here, we can do this, we can do that, we can disguise this, we can make you look faster if we syncopate every step. You can't hide in the Viennese waltz. You just have to be pure and good. There's no hiding with the perfect frame. And again, what I require from my man is that the frame has 3 points. So I'm going to use somebody. Are you available? Are you willing? Are you? Okay. So, if Marcus put his arms up, if I connect with him, I'm just going to talk. This is probably the most valid point of today. If I hold Marcus's hand, I'm going to give a figure of energy in that connection. So if I say from 1 to 10, the energy in that hand, well, I think we danced with an energy of probably 9 or 10 out of 10. Some couples would like 3 out of 10. That's fine. We danced with about 9 or 10 out of 10. It's not a squeeze. It's an energy. It's an equal energy balanced through the hand position. The next connection point is Marcus's right cuff underneath my armpit to my body. And again, this is my balance point. So my 9 and 10 out of 10 here is 10 out of 10 here. If this one became 6 out of 10, how can we sustain the frame? All right? If we say it's 5 out of 10 because we don't want to use too much energy today, it's too hot, this would be 5, this would be 5. How much would the connecting area in the center of the body be? How many? 5 out of 10, huh? Equal and balanced. You choose how much energy you need to keep the body in perfect connection. All right? So what we've actually got, if we put Marcus up, is 1, 2, 3 points. It's a triangle, and it's a moving triangle. And the worst thing that happens in the Viennese waltz, because we've just got one motion of energy movement, is that the triangle changes. It can't change. It must be connected through cuff, cuff, and hand. So we've got a perfect connection that never changes. If the center drives more, this hinge in the arm may breathe more, but it cannot change in the connecting energies. Okay? And you have to keep it for however long your Viennese waltz is. And you'll just be lucky that you're not dancing maybe in the United States Championship that we did, and they forgot to take the music off when we did a 4.5-minute Viennese waltz. That was very nice. You feel as if your teeth are going to fall out, but it's a great stamina practice, a great practice. So you have got to utilize your balance points, your energy points, and beautiful style. I want to see gorgeous moving bodies across the floor with total connection. Now, saying that, I'm going to finish. I'm going to actually thank Katerina and Jerry very much for inviting me here. Thank you. And thank you. I hope you've got a little glimpse of the thoughts that go on in our brains when we are actually dancing. Even a dance as simple as the Viennese waltz, because it still holds 20% of the marks. So that's a thought, isn't it? So can you put a little bit more mind to it? Give me the 7 figures, danced beautifully and danced accurately. And then just love it. Then you can dance it and love it as you do. We're going to finish. My husband and I will try to dance that awful step, the fleckerel. I don't promise to do it, but hey, little bit of a challenge. And I leave you with my heart and hope that you can all have a happy training week. Thank you so much.